Kirit bhai, your mic is muted.
Sorry about that. Thank you to joining Dharma Samvad, your very favorite Hindu channel, which is the only one Hindu channel. By doing this show, we reach out to our Hindu community. Very interesting subject we have brought today is the Hindu schools in South Africa. So let we first offer the prayer to Ma Saraswati, as today we talk about the Hinduism, Veda, and education, of course, via all the schools, Hindu schools. So first we pray to the Ma Saraswati. Ya kundendu tushar har dhavala, ya suprabhastra vruta, ya veena varadanda pandita kala, ya sweta pradmasana, या ब्रह्माजुत संगर प्रभुति देवै सदा वंदिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निशेषजाड्यापः पावकानः सरस्वती वाजे बिर्वाजिनीवती जग्नं वस्तु दिया वसुः मा सरस्वत्यै नमः. We have almost 12 guests from different Hindu school from South Africa, and with me, today we hosting with Yashika Ben. So I asked Yashika Ben to come on the screen, and then our technician team today is the Lakshmi behind the backdrop. Thank you, Yashika Ben. I think so. It was your wish to we must do something with the school, and it was a very nice subject because this is the way our community will, the next generation will be built up. So I hand over to you, Yashika Ben, your thoughts on, and then how your, I think so I said how the school subject came in your mind.
Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you. Vanakkam, namaskaram, saprem namaste to everyone. We have a bumper lineup tonight. We have many, many people from throughout the country who have decided that this subject is absolutely critical. Why? Since the time of indenture, the Hindus in the country have decided to preserve their culture, their language, their heritage through various schools and through various means to do that. But life has not always been easy. It has been full of challenges in many, many ways. And today we find out more from the various guests that have come in our midst today. First up is Shika Haripal, who is known for her dancing in South Africa. And she's also known for teaching Hindu studies. She's part and parcel of a formal school environment, but she's also involved with many aspects of Hinduism in the country. Namaste, Shika Haripal, and welcome to the show, Dharma Samvad today.
Namaste, Shika Ben. Please unmute your mic.
Namaste, Guruji. Namaste, Benji. Thank you for having me. It's actually a great honor for all the work that Dharma Samvad has been doing. I've been following every bit of it. And thank you for that, because it's always, I say, we all here promoting our Hindu culture and traditions through various mediums. And I'm very grateful for this platform as a part of a medium of promoting a very proud heritage.
That's wonderful and fantastic. You're an educator. You teach Hindu studies at Rhythm House Waterfall to about 200 learners. You're
Yes.
also a trained traditional classical Kathak dance specialist in Gauteng. Under,
Yes.
of course, we've mentioned Dharpan Kathak specialist. And you do that to about 100 dance aspirants. That's like absolutely amazing. So I would like to know, from where it all started and how old is the school currently, and also what inspired the need for the school.
Sure, when you talk about inspiration, I can go back again to the Hindi teacher that I actually was under when I was like a young girl, and she was the late Mrs. Kasturi Ben, and she had put in that seed that has grown in me to a point that when I grew up and was able to do a lot of things on my own, I attended classical Kathak lessons and graduated and ended up opening my own dance school. But that dance school actually opened up when I came to Gauteng and found that there was a gap There was no classical dance school in Kathak that was actually traditional meaning that it's coming from our temple-based dance, promoting that spiritualism through our Hinduism. And so I began that about more than 10 years ago. So that's about 12 years or so we've been operating as Darpan. And it's gone from strength to strength. And it's not been easy because it's a niche market, meaning that not everybody wants to go through the works of what our culture and tradition requires. It requires a lot of discipline, a lot of dedication, and requires a lot of sacrifices, not only as an individual, as a family. But I stay strong, and I hope I am making that difference. And I was also now had an opportunity to be, for the past 3 years, a Hindu studies teacher at Redham House Waterfall, which now gave me another avenue to continue promoting our Hindu culture and traditions. And that has been wonderful. It's been a real learning journey, both as a teacher and as a learner as well. You learn from your students. And but still, I still feel there's too much to be done. And this is only still a small part of what I'm doing.
Shikhaben, what you teach there? Subjects, any particular?
Apart from Hindu studies, I actually am the Hindu studies specialist right down from the 4-year-old to the grade 6. And that's what I concentrate on. And I teach Hinduism as a part of a philosophy and imbibing our stories and introducing it to our learners and to our youngsters and marrying it to their current day life, because they are very detached in how they marry the old with the new. And where do they fit into this whole thing? Because they are in a very cosmopolitan school. And how do they marry this whole thing in this way I come into being? And I teach to them in a very, because I'm almost caught in 2 generations, one with my parents and the older one, and now with the younger. So I relate a lot to it. And I find many, either through puzzles, either through storytelling, either through visuals, or even through sketches and dance. I even involve my dance there to try and get in what does it feel like to be in the company of Lord Krishna, what it's like to be the wife to Lord Shiva, and take it from there and see their parents in those roles, see themselves in their roles. And that's how I actually promote it. And when it comes to the dancing, that's even better, because there you need the mind, body, and soul to actually put it all together. And that's even more fun for me, because when we relate our gut bhavs and we are relating the story of Govardhan Leela and then using their hands to bring now the emotion to your body. So it's so many beautiful ways I've actually been afforded these opportunities. I thrive on it. It's become a part of my family and part of my growing family life, part before and now.
That's absolutely beautiful and inspiring indeed. I think there's a PowerPoint presentation just to show the variety in which the work that you've been used to and you're doing. So the combination of dance, music, as well as Hindu studies is absolutely phenomenal. What has led you to actually utilize these tools to teach the young kids? Was it a change in strategy? And were there challenges that you had to meet? Maybe share with us a little bit about that.
I'm going to go straight to the challenges. I think when you become a mom, you start asking yourself, what does this family mean to me? Where am I directing this family? As a female, you have a huge role, and we must never take that away, as much as the dads are there, but they have a different sort of responsibility. Mommy is there to really grow your spirituality in your religion. And I started asking a lot of questions. My son's got this name, and what does it mean to him? What is his heritage? Where does he come from? Where is he going with it? And then my daughter came along. So the challenges I experienced is that I couldn't take them anywhere at any given point to experience the culture and the tradition immediately. When it comes to, I find music, classical music, Indian classical music and dance as a form and the basis of bringing all our knowledge of Hinduism together. And that's what basically it is. Natya Shastra is our 5th Veda, which we bring everything together. And so when I went into dance, for one dancer, that has been my thing. But becoming a Hindu studies teacher, some of the challenges I experienced, the children were detached. They weren't finding their feet. They found it to be a subject where they can play a little, and they didn't think there was anything to learn. And I changed a lot of that. And I started opening their minds and views, starting with, first of all, their names. I said, your moms and dads have most of them, at least 90% of them, got traditional Hindu names. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to your family? If you can't look upon your name, look at your family name. And then I started bringing that. Your name is Mahadev. Who's Mahadev? You know, that for example. And I started from there, and also bringing in the little bit of discipline. How do you enter your class? What is your classroom? What is in your environment? It's the same the way you treat your world. And how does Brahmadev fall into? So I had all these challenges because they were so, they didn't know how to fit in. They were like, I don't want to be Hindu anymore. What is this? I'd rather eat, I'm going to be very frank when I say this. I want to eat beef because my friends are eating it. And then I had to bring an aspect of what this means to us. Therefore, you shouldn't imbibe in that. But not telling them what not to do and what should they do, but understanding what their responsibility when they were born. It's not something that was chosen for them. It was given to them from the great Bhagwan themselves. He's their actual creator. So for me, the challenges was the detachments of our young people to their heritage and their roots. The challenges as a mom, where I faced in this whole picture. And I'm just making a difference as I go along using whatever tools I can. My education, I've got a psychology degree, and I've now got a postgraduate certificate in education, as well as now employed as a teacher, and I'm also an exponent in Kathak. So all of these little tools, I'm hoping to make the world different. And I think it works. My son knows where's his responsibilities. He lights his lamp in the evening and he says his mantras. So that's already now for me. He knows his chalisas from beginning to end. The students at the school are more afraid what is a mantra, what is a shloka, what is a vandana, what is his stories, who are these characters? And I feel that's where I'm making my differences. But I say there's a lot more challenges to face, and we've got to do it one step at a time.
So thank you, Shikhaben, to coming on the show and then talking about the school, Redeem School, and continue going about the flag always high for Hinduism. I appreciate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was absolutely brilliant, and continue doing the good work. I think it's absolutely amazing that you've decided to do the integration, because that's what it is. I think one of the key things that Hindu society needs to learn is to face the challenges, innovate, and integrate. And I think
absolutely
that's wonderful. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaskar.
Thank you very much. So, because it's a bumper lineup and we have so many people, the next guest is Hemang Desai, who's the school principal from BAP Swaminarayan Sanstha. They've started this wonderful and amazing creative space for young kids to be innovative and share their environment whilst learning languages. So can we go to Hemang Bhai? Okay, our text says that Hemang Bhai is not there yet. So we'll actually move on to the next guest. I just want to see if Himali ji is here.
I think so. Hemang Bhai is here.
Okay. Jai Swaminarayan.
Yashika Ben, Maharaji, Namaste, Jai Swaminarayan. Sorry, the line dropped for a few minutes.
Well, welcome to the program and congratulations on being the principal of the Gujarati school.
Yeah, it's a fancy word. The generic word is just Karya Karo Swayam Sevak, which we are always reminded that we are. But for the sake of, I guess, smooth running, we have to say these things. Thank you anyway.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Can you tell us when the school started?
So the school started at least 25 years ago by someone called Madhuben Patel, who was really a pioneer of language and culture in the Johannesburg region. And if I may say so, she was something of an activist and a feminist before it was popular to be so. So Madhuba was actually the establisher of the school. She currently lives in London at a very ripe age of 95. And Madhuba, tamya juo to khush thao, raji thao, evi hu asha rakhu chu.
So nice, Hemang Bhai. Madhuben જ્યાં પણ જોતા હશે તો I'm sure કે the next level તમે આ classes લઈ ગયેલા છે and એને ખાસ લાગણી થતી હશે કે આ કામ જે એમને શરૂ કરેલું what she has started is still going continuously. We all know that Swaminarayan Sanstha is inspired by the Pramukh Swami Maharaj, and maybe many Swamis, but take it to the worldwide, this was key role by Pramukh Swami ji. I was part of the school program where the Swamiji came and he gave a very nice speech in English. What was the Swamiji name? I don't recall, but he's very old. Gyan Vatsal Swami. And then the youth also was there. And children did nice one show. It was so inspiring, and I feel so good because it is in South Africa, Gujarati language. Children can perform such a nice show. Can you talk a little bit about your small show, and then the what the preparation children do or what they learn in the Swaminarayan Sanstha, the school?
Yeah, sure. So Kirit Bhai, as you've rightly said, Pramukh Swami Maharaj took the Swaminarayan Sampraday's message across the world, and his one, I guess, master stroke was to have activities from, let's say, even 3 years old. જેને આપણે કહીએ કે જન્મથી જ બાળકની આધ્યાત્મિક પ્રવૃત્તિ ચાલુ થવી જોઈએ. This was Pramukh Swamiji's emphasis. So more or less, I guess there are two streams which link to each other and help each other, work off each other. One, of course, is what we call Bal Satsang or Bal Mandal, or even younger Shishu or Shishika, which is for toddlers. And from there, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, those lessons are taught from that age when they're just toddlers. And at the same time, we have the Gujarati school, where we spend sometimes specifically on the language. So the cultural ideas can then be processed in its original, whether it's Sanskrit or Gujarati or Hindi. So this is, I guess, you can say the two-pronged approach to a wholesome type of development, which has always been Pramukh Swami Maharaj's vision. And we always see that they work off each other. Acharyaji will know better than me, but often when there's something like Hanuman Chalisa or bhajans, the problems in pronunciation come because people are either reading Gujarati or Hindi in transliteration and not in the original. I've seen this many times, and I've experienced many of my friends doing this as well. And that's because the mother tongue has been neglected to some extent. So for cultural activities to be performed in the original form, the language aspect is very important. And what Acharyaji alluded to was the inauguration of let's say unveiling of the temple Mahamandir model to the public in the presence of one of our senior most sadhus, Swami Bhakti Priyadas ji, which you're also seeing on your screen right now. And accompanying the unveiling were very young children, all in primary school, who did the Shanti part, Vedic Shanti part, according to the four Vedas, but when learned in the traditional manner. That is, learn in front of someone who has himself learned, and secondly, learn in the original language with the meaning, be it Sanskrit or Gujarati. So these two aspects have to work off each other. One is the religious and cultural ideas, and two is understanding them in the truest form through the mother tongue.
That's brilliant. And I see that, you've used innovation in the school quite a lot. You've got computers, you've got kids, in classrooms, etc. How is it run? Can you share with us, is it just obviously now in Johannesburg, but is it run throughout the country? And then how many classes? Maybe describe,
Sure.
the manner in which it's working.
So Yashika, I'm not that old, but when I went to school, I hated school. And I just feel like, maybe it just had to do with the fact that a young mind wants to learn, but the manner in which it's being done is maybe outdated or rote learning or whatever. But many young parents tell me that the way their children are now learning is very different to how school was. And that's because there's new research on how the mind works, how the brain works. There are new ideas of how people grasp information. So I think it's very important for cultural organizations also to, I guess, to put it crudely, get with the program. And so for that reason, we've tried to be as innovative as possible in the school and try to learn from the developments in the broader field of education. For example, we for a few years have had an exam structure which is not really an exam but a game. So if I can illustrate, instead of always having to write down ka or kha or any of the primary alphabets, instead you go and discover it within the playground through a clue, or if there's a chart, you try your best to hit it or close to it, its parameters with a ball, etc. So we've tried these different types of things just to make a Saturday afternoon still feel like a Saturday afternoon and not one more day at school. Because I think one of the big problems of the current generation is that education is extremely demanding. So we have to make sure that as far as it's possible, education, cultural education, is given in a format which is enjoyable. I guess we can say Vidya and Manoranjan, not just Vidya. That, and to make it palatable. And so we've tried different types of methods, as you showed in the one picture, Yashika Ben. We had our one of the most current exams as a quiz, online quiz. There are enough tools out there. If you just spend enough time, you can figure out the format of these games. And a good quiz, the whole world watches Kaun Banega Crorepati and all the different versions. And we kind of had something similar with Gujarati across all classes according to their levels. And I enjoyed working behind the scenes, and then the teachers enjoyed playing each other's games as well, even though it was set for students. So it's important to maintain the essence, but also innovate. And lastly, we try to do this through festivals, utsav, or in Gujarati sometimes we say samaya. For example, the one picture illustrated the children making shivlings. Now, when we talk about it in English, it's kind of very difficult to say take a pot and pour water on the stone. This would be grammatically accurate but quite crude, as opposed to saying take a karash and do abhishek on a shivling, and then to unpack what each of those things mean according to the grasping level of the children. So when we include festivals, Utsav, Samaya in our syllabus, I think when the original terms are used and explained, there's a better appreciation for the deeper meanings, and that is something we try to reinforce. So learn, but through all these different type of mediums, one goal through many means.
So thanks, Emang Bhai. So before we go to the next question, Ashika Ben will ask. I just came to just curiosity that how all the school rather I asked him to take the interviews. One thing, Ashika Ben, and my love towards the Swaminarayan Sanstha is it's open and well known all the years from India to in South Africa. When Swami comes, always visit to Mandir and especially home. I love the innovation or the way Swaminarayan Sanstha put Hinduism or reach out to the other part of the world by beautiful mandir, the beautiful murtis, nicely dressed, and then if you see present Prime Minister of India, Modi, he present India like we are not poor people, not anymore snake charmer. We have best technology, we have IT guys, we have the best things, and that what Swaminarayan Sanstha did, took the message of the Dharma to the Western world, and then not like a poor, katora kind things. It's like the best. We have best things, and that I love. And the Jnanam in our scripture says, Vidya dadati vinayam vinayam yati patratam. The Vidya, the knowledge give vinayam, you make you humble, and vinaya yati patratam, and the vinay, the humbleness, make you the good person, or you become like in certain levels, people respect you and all. So Hemang Bhai, my question was that, is there any challenges by running this school, or children don't come, or parents don't send them, or they don't take as a don't give importance school as normal school?
Kirit Bhai, if I could just go back slightly to answer your question, in 2004, Pramukh Swami Maharaj visited South Africa. And at the time, I had helped one of my friends give a speech about Swami Vivekananda and Nachiketa. There's a very famous quotation of Swami Vivekananda who said, "Give me
Sorry to
100
interrupt you, Hemang Bhai. The Nachiketa story is so nicely put in the Gandhinagar Akshardham with the light show.
Yes, light show, exactly. So Swami Vivekananda had said that give me 100 Nachiketas and I will change the face of India. And it was a discussion around this topic. The entire speech was in English. And after that, Pramukh Swami Maharaj remained silent for quite a few minutes. And it was kind of, how we'd say, sanket, a message in the silence. And then he just looked up and said, why didn't he speak in Gujarati? And everyone was kind of dumbfounded. No one spoke for a while. And then someone looked at me to say, you wrote the speech, so you answer. And I got up and I said, well, Swami, Bapa, you see, nowadays everyone goes to private schools because we are able to, but there are too many extramural activities. We are no longer living within our group areas at places. So time is less, and we just don't seem to be able to prioritize Gujarati. And Swamiji just looked down and kept on eating. And that was enough of a message. The message was clear, to me at least, that he didn't accept that as a good enough answer. But at the same time, I think the sanket, the message was try and make the effort anyway, or find out why this should be important to you. It is true, very true, that because it's a Saturday, and in fact, normal school spills over onto the weekends, be it through sports, extramural activities, camps, etc. So kids are tired, number one. I think this is something educators have to appreciate, that children are tired. Number two, there are social events. Number three, I think, and I say this often to parents, I think parents need to figure out for themselves why they believe mother tongue or the mother language, Matrubhasha, is important to them. They have to come up with their own solution or their own answer. And if there's more clarity within the family on why Matrubhasha is important, I think then the dedication will come automatically. So this is kind of through my bit of experience, this is how I've begun to see it, that there has to be some clarity of purpose. Pramukh Swami Maharaj believed that Bhasha, Bhusha, Bhojan and Bhakti are interlinked. If Bhasha is secure, Bhusha, which is clothing, Bhojan, which is our dietary habits, way of eating, and Bhakti, or our way of devotion, will also be better understood and therefore better appreciated. So that's the BAPS's Swaminarayan's angle. But families need to decide why it's important to them. There can be various reasons. You want to communicate with your grandmother. I think that's an excellent reason. You want to one day speak to Ambani in Gujarati. I think that's also an excellent reason. Or when you shake Narendra Modi's hand and say "Kam cho," that would be great. Or simply, if you catch a taxi in Bombay or you buy something in Fordsburg, you want to be able to negotiate in Gujarati. So these, I'm giving crude examples, but I think one of the large challenges is for families to try and decide and be clear on why they feel Matrubhasha is important to them.
Absolutely. And I think that's it's critical for our Hindu society to understand the relationship between Matribhash, culture, religion, and identity. And these are critical in terms of how we are living in South Africa. We are part of a rainbow nation, as Nelson Mandela once said, but we're part of a broad society. And I always remember Pramukh Swami Maharaj saying, we are Hindu first, Swami Narayan next. So the idea of us coming together as a collective is important. What are your thoughts on that, Hemangbai?
100%. I think the entirety of Indian civilization has the same base within the Upanishads and the Mahabharata and Ramayana, which is Satya Ahimsa Brahmacharya Asteya Parigraha and Matu Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava. I don't think there's any denomination or school of thought which is away from these foundational values. So I agree 100% that this is the vision that Pramukh Swami Maharaj has also portrayed, and that is why places such as Akshardham have taken stories, as Acharya ji said, of Nachiketa, which is from the Upanishads and therefore applicable to all denominations, and given it a new flair through modern technology, etc. And the sutra Pramukh Swami Maharaj used to use, which was recently adopted for Ram Mandir, was Bhavyata and Divyata, not just divinity, but splendor as well. So I think keeping this in mind, that our foundation is the same. Now we can work together on many platforms.
Thank you so much. That was brilliantly put. Vidya, Manoranjan. And I think the combination is absolutely beautiful to entice our young children. Thank you so much, Hemangbai. Is there anything else from Panditji's side, or we are fine?
No, thanks everybody for coming. There's one question was appearing from the Toralben Talati from Utenheg. That is the school available online?
So that's a great question. Since about March or April, the school has been online. And looking at the situation, we will remain online for the foreseeable future as well. So definitely the school which was physical will remain online for some time to come. But Acharya ji, if you permit, I'd like to just say something about something we're working on, and we are very, very keen on taking forward are two platforms which will be completely online. So two more methods of teaching that will remain online for the for posterity, we hope. One is to have a class solely on conversation. So 3 or 4 levels of being able to speak Gujarati, because there seems to be a desire that we might not read or write, but we definitely want to speak. So an online class which concentrates, focuses mainly, if not solely, on speaking. And secondly, a platform where you can learn at your own pace. So the administrator will upload a lesson, and then in a 10-day period, you partake of the lesson when it suits you. And then there's, of course, online, maybe how we can say, assessments, etc. But for people who might not be in the direct vicinity of a Gujarati school, these two platforms are something that we're very keen about. But they're actually only something we can take ahead if we feel that there's enough support and interest, because it does take up a fair amount of time, and also does take up a bit of effort as well. So through this very excellent platform, I'd like to encourage everyone to please reach out. And if we can gauge that there's enough support for these two initiatives, we are more than ready to take them forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time to be with us.
Thank you, Yashikaben, Acharya ji, for this opportunity and for this great platform, which I think is doing great work.
Jai Swaminarayan.
Jai Swaminarayan.
Jai Swaminarayan. So up next, we have Himali Jutta, and she is a teacher and an educator at the Radhesham Mandir at Marlborough Temple, that is commonly known in Johannesburg. Namaste, Himali ji. Welcome to the program.
Namaste. Sorry, Yashikaben, I must correct you there. I'm nowhere near being an educator or a teacher. I leave that to our wonderful Beno who are at our Gujarati school. I'm the vice chair on the EXCO team, which falls under the body of the Santan Hindu Seva Samaj, and our Gujarati school forms part of that parent body. we are very fortunate. We actually have our premises on the Radhesham Mandir, so we have Kirit Bhai at our disposal, and he's our guiding light and our mentor. And as I said before, he's the man who gets things done. Especially getting a fantastic panel discussion like this together. I think only Kirit Bhai can do this. So Guruji, thank you so much, and thanks for allowing us this platform. The Gujarati school is currently running online. We have been teaching Hindi, Hinduism, and Gujarati. I think when COVID hit, we moved onto Microsoft Teams very quickly. And I'm very proud of our team for the fact that we could go so quickly onto an online platform, particularly as, we rely on volunteers. And with COVID coming into effect, so many of our volunteers had to fall away, and we ended up working with a very thin group of people, but very committed, very dedicated group of people. And so, we looked at so many things around, what are we doing? How are we engaging with our students? What's going to be exciting for them? And, we looked at what was relevant, what's functional. And we found that at the core of it all is actually conversational Gujarati. I have to relate to what your earlier speaker said, Hemang Bhai. I can 100% relate about school. We hated school growing up, and with the amount of pressures that the kids today face, with extramurals, with English school exams, with tests, we wanted to take that pressure away from the parents and from the students and say, right, how are we going to make Gujarati fun? And so that's what we've done, and that's how we've been able to switch the interest in Gujarati from becoming this boring class where you sit in front of the teacher and you rote learning exactly the way you're doing at English school, and it's another stress. You're not even having a break on a Saturday afternoon, to actually saying, Gujarati school is fun. As the kids would say, Guju school is so much of fun. I want to go back. I want to play these games, and I want to meet my friends, and I want to hang out with my friends. And that socialization was really important for us.
I think that's it's an excellent question. Thank you. Panditji will also ask some questions of you. I think, being Panditji himself, he's quite innovative, and that's why we have this platform. But parents are required to think out of the box. Teachers are required to think out of the box every day, because the kids are imbued with information on the internet, from television, from all over. So what were some of the key things that you feel was important to inspire the young children, particularly in the time where children now are going to schools that are traditionally Christocentric? They have better opportunities. They would have more services available than traditional schools in the mandirs or in the language schools. What were some of the strategic changes that you and your team applied in bringing the kids back?
So there are several things, trying to turn the apathy around, particularly from parents, of saying Gujarati school is your 2-hour nanny on a Saturday afternoon. How do we switch that around? And the online platform had given us such an opportunity to get parents involved. And one of the things that I'm particularly proud of is that we had an online showcase at the end of this year, which showed off what our children learned throughout the year, the different phrases that they've learned, the different methods in which they've communicated, talking about various things in the kitchen, or talking to Nanima and saying, Jai Shri Krishna Nanima, Kem Cho Tame, Humajama Chu, having those conversations. With that, we also noticed that during the showcases, the parents got involved. And this was a huge win for us, because the parents were now engaging. And during the physical classes, where private schools and stuff might say, great, you know what, you in a classroom environment, you're learning there. What was different for us is getting onto an online platform and getting parents involved in the classes, getting parents involved in online games, getting parents involved in studying with the apps. We don't do homework, we do home play. And home play is great fun because we have an app. The children get 5 phrases that they want to learn off this app. And then they sit with mom and dad with what? With a tablet, because they love sitting with a tablet. It's what's relevant for them. It's what's functional for them. It's what appeals to our children to say, right, I've got the tablet in front of me. I can sit with mom and dad. Some of them bunked Gujarati school. They didn't go, so they still have to learn Gujarati. So you know what? Maybe I can teach them as well. So let them sit with me with the app. And then on the app, you actually see the words in English, the words in Gujarati, and you actually hear the person saying the phrases as well, which was so critical in getting parents and children to start communicating with one another. And I think that has been one of our biggest wins, is getting parent engagement. And I think that's what also makes it very different, is that we have a brilliant occupational therapist whom we work with. Her name is Hashmila Ben Bhula. And she has introduced some fantastic in-classroom concepts. Instead of sitting and grudgingly writing out your g, take out the Play-Doh, and experience the feeling of that letter. If you're going to talk about fruit, if I've got an apple, safarjan che, safarjan no rang lal che, the color of the apple is red. So there's that experience of the language, rather than just a simple cerebral method of learning. And I feel that that's really, really been an important part of the development and learning, and bringing a sense of community, within our school. For Hinduism, we've been doing yoga, we've been doing role play, in the class, who's going to be Arjun, who's going to be Krishna, and having that role play experience in the class. With our online platform, the parents were doing yoga with the children, so it was really a huge win for us to have that. Particularly I think the other thing for us was also how quickly we were able to get onto an online platform, so that we wouldn't have to jeopardize our curriculum in any way. And I must give a huge shout out to Divesh Bhai Natu. I think he is watching, for getting that done for us so quickly. And we have actually reached out, and if we haven't, I'm reaching out now to many members of our community, people in other areas of the country who would like to join us, who would like to audit our classes, come and see what our classes are all about, chat to us about our different methods of learning and teaching. We're absolutely open to say, come and chat to us. If you're feeling isolated in any particular town in the country, because COVID has been very isolating for people. And if you are feeling that kind of isolation and you feel like, I really need to do something to teach my child Gujarati or Hindi or Hinduism, contact us, come in and do a free trial class with us, give us some feedback, tell us how we can do things differently. We're open to that as well. So, yeah, I think those are our big wins.
Sorry to interrupt you, but the one word you said, free, but Gujarati don't give anything free.
Huh?
So I like to tell the viewers that, if I'm not wrong, and please correct me, that the Sri Santan Hindu Gujarati school is the biggest school. I think so, 80 students in the Houghton area, or maybe South Africa, if I'm not wrong. Maybe Swaminarayan can be compete with that because they could have more children. And it is in the Marlborough Garden. And then 2021 there is already, Baiji was showing that message. So please join. And now the good things is about whether you're Gujarati, Tamil, or Hindi, or Swaminarayan, or Hare Krishna, whichever things what you believe and you want to follow, this online platform will help. And I request to all the schools that keep your online platform on while you're doing the school back next year. So what's going to happen, that those children can make it to come here. They can join the class, but those who can't make it, they can still do from the maybe Uchanek or the Port Elizabeth or somewhere else, other part of the country. So I thanks to the Emily Ben for joining, and thanks to the executive team. Always we're working together so nicely. Thanks.
Gee,
Namaste, and thank you very much, and keep on innovating.
I just want to say one thing. You know, one of our dreams is to have a single online platform that all Hindus can join in. And if you say, today I want to learn Tamil, I want to learn Telugu, I want to learn Hindi, I want to learn Gujarati, I can get onto that platform whether I'm in Moscow, in Mumbai, in Cape Town, or wherever. And as a Hindu, I can sign up and learn my different languages and my culture. So thank you so much for this platform, and we hope to move from strength to strength.
Thank you. Namaste. Up next we have is Sri Logan Pillai, and he's the chairperson of the Benoni Tamil Board. And they've been involved with promoting culture, language, and spirituality for many, many years. And they're one of the pioneer schools in the country that has kept the language and the culture alive. Logan Pillai, vanakkam, and welcome to the program.
Vanakkam, Yashika, and to all the viewers.
Thank you.
Carry on. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. I think it's going to be a marathon stretch because we have quite a few guests, but we so want to thank you and your team for all the work that you've been doing for all these many decades. Can you tell us when was the school board founded, and what was the inspiration behind it?
Well, the school board was founded in the year 1947. So to date, they're 74 years old. And I'm talking about the Benoni Tamil School Board as an organization. So the inspiration came from a group of like-minded individuals that wanted to promote the Tamil language and culture and preserve, the culture within the Hindu community of a little town called Actonville in Benoni. And that's started with humble beginnings, where they set up this beautiful, organization called the Benoni Tamil School Board, and predominantly was for the teaching of Tamil language. And they started, in individuals' homes, and then over many years it filtered out into certain schools, where they were given a classroom in which to teach in, and then obviously, being with a lot of restrictions, they had to move back after many years to the temple, which was built in 1985. So currently the Tamil school runs off the temple premises, and we built 4 classrooms many years ago, and we are using that currently to do our Tamil teaching and our classes.
So thank you, Logan Bhai. Can you say how many students at present in the class school, and then you get enough teacher to teach the Tamil language?
Well, currently we have in the region of about 30 learners that are learning the different grades, starting from grade R right up to grade 11 at the moment. And out of the school, we have learners that are doing grade 12. But we have 2 teachers currently that are teaching, and they split the grades between themselves. There's a teacher that does the lower grades and the teacher that does the higher grades. Now, what is the situation currently with the school is we are on a 3-day basis in terms of the regulations and protocols regarding the COVID. But that too also, that took a turn where we had to go on WhatsApp teaching and online teaching. So the teachers themselves have developed lessons through the guidance of our mother body, which is the Tamil Federation of Gauteng. And obviously we're following a syllabus that's been prescribed by the South African Tamil Federation. So the teachers are guided and, in terms of what to teach and how to teach. And through the Tamil Federation's education board. So it works well because all the schools currently across the Gauteng region basically are using the same syllabus to teach. So when it comes to examination and ISTFs, etc., they're all on the same level.
That's wonderful, fantastic. I think one of the things that we really admire is the fact that throughout the country, organizations like the South African Tamil Federation, the Aliums, the Kovils, all have created the opportunity for fostering the language and the culture, to be taught.
Most definitely.
In your opinion, what has been the recent challenges? Because you've had classes that went up to 100 students at some point, but the numbers have now started dropping. And what are you doing to make those changes? Firstly, identify the challenges and then share with us some of the changes.
Yeah. So basically what happened is, as the years went on, people moved out of the area of Actonville. Now, as I said to you, the schools were predominantly, it's based on a temple site. The temple, the organization is 74 years old, but the temple is 35 years old. So basically, the school is based on the temple grounds. So most of the people moved out of Actonville, obviously to settle in different areas. And it became a bit of a situation in terms of getting children to the Tamil school. So we provided the means of picking up children within a radius of 25 kilometers of the temple. So we've got our combis that go out and fetch whoever wants to come to the school. But with the pressures of the English school, we found that the challenges there is where children, finish off school at certain time, then they've got extramural activities that they have to partake in. So it becomes very difficult for us to get them to the school. And also parents that are working also cannot bring the children to the school as well, So those are the challenges that we are having at the moment. So what we try to do is try to introduce evening classes and also Saturday classes. And even also we gone into introducing Sunday classes where we do conversational Tamil, because we felt that most of them don't speak the language at home, so it becomes very difficult learning the theory, and then you go home and you don't even practice it and you don't even speak it. So we introduced family classes that we want to come on a Sunday morning. We have the Sunday morning service at the temple, and then thereafter we have an hour and a half session of conversational Tamil. So we try to promote it in that way. Then also we are going full steam ahead with our the online practice of teaching Tamil from within our school as well. But there's a lot of platforms that are teaching Tamil online at the moment, that the people can choose from. But we also want to do our bit and put out something from the Benoni Tamil School Board to all our devotees and the learners across the Benoni area as well. And then obviously we've got the teachers that are on hand to assist, and wherever they can, on a one-on-one basis through WhatsApp.
Thank you, Logan Bhai. I also know one or two words in Tamil. Vanakkam, Mika Nandri. Yes, this online platform will help many other people also if you start. And then I really appreciate to join. Many people, those who are watching, can contact the Logan Bhai Pillai. You can write on the Dharma Samvad page. If any one of the school you like to join, we will provide their link and contact numbers to you. Thank you, Logan Bhai.
Thank you, Mika Nandri.
Mika Nandri, thank you very much. And you'll send us your web details. We'll be able to put that out onto the platform, and also to encourage young people to continue studying their mother tongue, their history, and their culture. And I think that's so important for our identity. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Most definitely. Thank you. Welcome.
So before we go to our next guest, all the requests to the guest be due to the time consumed. Please keep your answers short. introduce your school, the contact numbers, and then Yashika Ben will ask question. As I said earlier, I just sitting and ask some what the school do in Dharma side, but keep those things short. Our next guest, Yashika Ben.
So our next guest is Roshni Singh. She's the director for the education board of the Sri Satya Sai Seva organization. Roshni ji, welcome to the program. Om Sai Ram. I think you're on mute.
I think so. Tap again, Roshni Ben.
Can you hear me now? Right.
Yes.
Om Sai Ram. Om
Yes,
Sai Ram.
welcome. Your video is also off. Can you enable your video? There you go.
Okay. Om Sai Ram and Namaste, sisters and brothers. It's a pleasure to be on your program.
We want to find out what has been the inspiration for the Satya Sai schools in the country. We know that it's values-based, but it also speaks to teaching our Dharma in a far more integrated way. Can you share with us the inspiration?
So, Sri Satya Sai Baba is the spiritual teacher and the founder of this Satya Sai Education in Human Values program. So the 3 Satya Sai schools which we have in South Africa, that's one in Chatsworth, Bayview, one in Newcastle, and the other one in Lenasia, was inspired by Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. And we find that this program, the Education in Human Values program, has actually reached about 125 countries worldwide. And the Satya Sai education is implemented in a very wide, very informal, non-formal education program, providing a lifelong learning and transformation process. So Baba is our inspiration.
Excellent. I think one of the key things that the Satya Sai schools has been able to achieve is that it took learners from babyhood, from little kids, right until matric, and you've achieved phenomenal success. But you've also had some challenges. Can you share with us what has been that and how you have overcome some of that?
Look, the Satya Sai school provides integral education, that is where we take secular school curriculum and integrate values into it. So it is a secular plus a spiritual education program, which actually enhances the child in the sense that we unearth values or bring out the values that are latent within each child. And what we want to get the broader community to understand is that this value-based education addresses the needs of the society today. The world is in a crisis when it comes to value-based life experiences and conduct. So this education system, which we call, Baba calls EduCare program, it's like a blossoming of the human excellence, which means that the values latent in each one of us, of each individual, is brought out through the 5 teaching techniques or transformation tools which we use in the classroom. So the challenges would be that the community at large needs to understand that these special schools addresses the special needs and norms of society today. What is happening to our young people in the society today? This EduCare system, the EduCare philosophy of education, addresses every aspect of the human personality. That means we give children life experiences and how to live their lives in a very experiential way, starting within the classroom, because these transformation techniques that we are talking about actually addresses the domains of the personality. And if you talk about the Gurukul system or the systems of education in the past, they passed on the culture and the teachings through stories. through prayers, through bhajans, through role play. So this is how we address the domains of the personality in a Satya Sai school classroom. So the challenge would be that we want to have a buy-in from more of the parents, because currently we find the numbers dwindling, although we have 160 plus in each of the schools, but we find that parents seek to go to a school where there are other extracurricular, extramural activities in a larger, broader sense offered at the schools. But in our Satya Sai schools, I do agree that it is limited. But when it comes to taking part in extracurricular, co-curricular, the school offers that as well. So we're saying that in addressing the child totally through this toolbox, I call it the toolbox of transformation tools, these 5 techniques, addresses the domains of the personality where the human values are. So in the school, when you start in the school in the morning, you have an assembly in the ashram. The direct method, that is using these techniques of prayer and singing and silent sitting. You know, children's minds are full of thoughts and chatter. We use silent sitting as a great tool, the breathing technique as a great tool. So when the child leaves the class, the assembly area and goes into the classroom, the first period on the timetable is allocated to the education and human values program. Again, enhancing and setting the tone for the child in the school. So the ambience of the school, the culture of the school is based on love and understanding this little human being that is placed in the teacher's hands. Sarah.
Thank you, Roshni Ben, Sairam. I also was part of the Sri Satya Sai organization in Port Elizabeth, and I love those small bhajans, which is they used to do every Thursday. I inspired by Satya Sai organization or by Baba because of in India, the poverty, where there's like extreme poverty states,
Yes.
I mean village and the district where Baba organize the water for them, the hospitals, and then education, which is the priority, as like Swaminarayan Sanstha. I love these things. That's why if you see, even though I Sanatan priest, or I always connect with the other organization because they're doing great work. These are the branches of the Hinduism, whether Satya Sai, Hare Krishna, or the all organization. The question was that how many children in the school are full-fledged, like they teach everything like normal normal schools?
Yes, we use a normal school curriculum of the government schools, and then we integrate values into the school curriculum. A simple example would be if you're teaching fractions and you bring in the value of sharing into it and caring and love and so on. So the values are integrated into the normal school curriculum, which is given to us by the education department of this land. So it's not changed in any way. The curriculum is enhanced by integrating the values into it. So every subject can integrate values and bring to the child's attention that this subject is not only for the classroom, it's for living your life. When you go out there, you know how to live your life based on values. So I'm saying, Yashika Ben, the value-based school is, although it's not a language-based school, but it's based on unity of faiths. And we encourage the parents that there are places in the school, in the grade R, the grade 4, grade 5, and 7, especially in the Chatsworth school, to enroll themselves in the school. And for parents to play a pivotal role in the child's life, in the sense that they become involved, like, you know, the tricycle, the parent is one of the back wheels, the teacher is the other, and the front wheel is the child who we want to encourage to progress on the spiritual journey back to his maker. So this is my appeal to all parents, that these schools are available, there are spaces available, that you make an attempt to find out and bring your child. And simply to say that this value-based school, if you take all the teachings of Hinduism, it is just taken and translated into English, and the same principles are applied. the same principles everywhere. We speak about Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, and Ahimsa, and the basis of that is the Satya Sai Education and Human Values Program. As I said, in 125 countries in the world, this education system is flourishing, and worldwide, it is recognized as one of the key systems that will bring world peace eventually. Sairam.
Om Sairam, thank you so much for those profound words. And I think it's so important that the Satya Sai educational environment has actually epitomized the teachings of Sanatan Dharma. And you are doing it in the most innovative ways, in terms of the schools that we have currently. It's important for Hindus to recognize the nature of integrated teaching and to encourage children to study languages, their culture, as well as Vidya, their knowledge of Hindu Dharma. Thank you again, Roshniji. We have to move on. And our next guest, Namaste. Our next guest is Praveen Bhai, and he's from the Andhra Mahasabha. He's Pravindra Adhari, and he's been working with the Telugu schools in South Africa. Namaskaram and welcome to the program, Pravindraji.
Namaskaram, Yashika Singh, and namaskaram to Kirtivayacharya.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And I think just by way of introduction, can you share with us a little bit, about prerna? Because I know the term means inspiration. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
So Prerna is a Telugu online platform using Facebook, Zoom, WhatsApp, any of the social media platforms that we can get our hands on. Especially during the pandemic, we have actually latched on to the online, and we've taken Telugu to the next level. To be honest, the Telugu language has been falling down before the pandemic, and the pandemic has actually been a blessing to us. It made us see that it's important to take the mother tongue seriously, and people have really taken it. The public has got behind this project, and the public has made this project a success.
Thank you, Praveen Bhai. Nuvu Vandanalu to you.
Dhanyavadamalu, Auntie.
I hope it is correctly I said that.
Sariga cheppu, Auntie.
Praveen Bhai. Okay. So where this school is in which area?
Okay, so Prerna is actually a Facebook page that was started in November 2019. We used to create little videos to encourage people to learn to speak Telugu. So the suggestion was to take 4 to 5 Telugu words, drop the English and replace it with Telugu. Example, Namaskaram is welcome, goodbye is Velastanu, thank you is Dhanyavadamalu. So we started coming up with the top 50 words that every Telugu person can immediately drop the English and replace the Telugu. When the pandemic came about, we found an opportunity to use Zoom to create Telugu reading and writing classes, speaking classes, and also even prayers and bhajanas, and even we have an online satsang going. So we feel COVID has come to bless our mother tongue, and we thank this pandemic because we wouldn't have taken our language this seriously. Now I think that all Telugu people that want to learn how to read or write or speak Telugu will use the online, because it's unfortunate that we cannot return to our sabhas and organizations. The doors have been shut because of the pandemic.
And I think that's incredible, the way you are able to use online to your best advantage. And critically, I see in your slides that you've sent us, you've said mother tongue is sacred. That's why we call it Telugu Tali. Perhaps explain Matribhash. Why is the nuance of the language related to one's own psyche, one's own identity? Maybe you can share a little bit about, the importance of the language.
So I'm going to share with you actual feedback from people that have been through this process, and it's incredible things. One of the things they found is that through contact with the mother tongue, they feel they have more meaning in life. They have identity in this world. They also feel connected in some way to India, and they want to go back to the motherland, and maybe they could have a chat with the guy at the chai shop and exchange a few words in Telugu. It's as little as that. that this Telugu language, or any language for that matter, mother tongue, can change you in so many ways. We are finally finding out the meanings of songs that we have sung for the last 20 years. People are crying with joy because there's meaning in their lives. So there's such beauty in the mother tongue. Certain things can only be expressed in the mother tongue. We struggle to even translate it into English, but we do use the English medium to teach.
Thank you, Praveen Bhai. It was so nice to hear. And then, of course, as our scripture said, Janani Janma Bhumischa Sargadapi Gariyasi. The mother, the place, the where you born, we call Janma Bhumi, in your mother tongue, are the not less than the heaven. It should be all the time with you, and you respect all the time. We really appreciate your work, and of course, we promote your school via our Dharma Samvad, the platform. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. And I hope that you have a good wish for the Telugu language in 2021.
So the wish for the Telugu language in the 2021 is that more people come forward to learn the language. There's different ways to be involved. Learn a prayer, learn a padyam, learn a bhajana in your language. Not just Telugu, any language that's out there. Learn something in your mother tongue and be proud. Take this to the next generation. Namaskaram and dhanyavadamulu.
Dhanyavad. Thank you very much. So next up, we have another important guest that is running the Hindu school in Westville in Durban, and it's none other than Dr. Bisram Ramvilas. He's also the chairperson of the Arya Samaj in South Africa, and he's been a teacher of Sanskrit. In fact, he was my lecturer in Sanskrit many years ago. But he's also a hard worker in the community, working tirelessly for the upliftment of the poor and the indigent in the country. Welcome to the studio, Dr. Bisram Ramvilas. Namaste.
Namaste, Yashika. Namaste, Kirit Bhaiji. And namaste to Lux and the team.
Thank you very much. Dr. Ramvilas, we are here today to celebrate and promote the various schools in the country who have been teaching our languages, our culture, our heritage, and our values. So can you share with us a little bit about the Westville Hindu School, when it started and who inspired it?
Well, it started with the closure of the departments at the University of Durban, Westville. As you know, Westville, University of Durban, Westville was created as an apartheid institution for Indians only. And as much as Sanskrit or Hindu studies or the Indian language is not an apartheid system or a discipline, but they were included at the university because of apartheid policy. And when there was no more apartheid, the university ceased to exist, and so did our departments. So, I was retrenched and I had to do something. And having studied for so long, I thought, let me try, starting a school where I could still promote these languages, because there was no more any platform for the academic teaching of these subjects. So Westville Hindu School was created so that both through a normal school curriculum and after hours for adult classes, we could continue to promote an academic study of Hinduism.
Thank you, Dr. Ramvilas ji. It was great to chatting earlier of this year when the pandemic start, and then we was together.
Yes, thank you.
The good work done by all the school, in fact, and I think so. Senior person like you, who have great knowledge of the schools and all, maybe help us. Most of the school, maybe we reach out to them and then guide them more. How can the constitution, right? As if I said in South Africa, they respect all the religion and all the languages. If I'm not wrong, please correct me. So maybe out of again this question, because we work out all 5 questions, but because all people are answering the 5 questions in one way. But anyway,
yes.
This is out of bucket question. Is there any way that you can little bit highlight that how one can use this constitution right in the school?
Yeah, you see, we can speak as much as we want to about the constitution. And I think there's so much the government can do only. The rest lies in our hands. The actual promotion, has to be done by ourselves, and we can then get the necessary support. You must remember radio stations like the Indian radio stations that promote our languages are there. The government allows these structures to be in place. The government allows for schools like the Westville Hindu School to be registered. Registered with Umalusi. So the structures and the clauses are there in the constitution. Now we need to really take advantage of it as a community. Otherwise, we're going to keep complaining, and there's never an end to that. So we need to be proactive. All of us need to be proactive. Where there are schools, we just have to make sure we go there, and where there aren't schools, we must try and create them. Any structure, any form that will, enable our people to be empowered in matters of their language and culture. Okay.
So I think that's absolutely brilliant, and it's excellently put. I think the most important thing is that the Hindu society themselves need to step out and become lions again. They're a little bit sheep at the moment, and they need to step up. Otherwise, the future of our language and our religion will be lost. But it is thanks to you, Dr. Ramvilas, and people like you that have kept the flag, raised high. What are your plans for 2021, and how are we going to help you get more students to the school?
No, thank you very much for that. You see, schools, I've not been able to join in the entire session, but a school like the Westville Hindu School, like other schools, you have to be registered with the department. You follow the normal curriculum. But because a school like mine, we're not, particularly concerned with merely the pecuniary interest, just the making of money. So we have small classes. So during even the pandemic, we've been able to operate effectively, do Zoom classes when the children were back. We didn't have to, like, for example, half the children today, the other half tomorrow. They were all there because the classes, we could manage them. So the effective teaching, the catch-up took place. We were able to observe all the health. So health-wise, we've been one of the safest schools to be at. And we've integrated technology and all of that. So next year, we've already had a better enrollment for next year than we've been having in the past. So our enrollment has picked up, and we're very confident that we're going to have a good year. Like I said to you, please visit the website. Just go onto Facebook website, Westville Hindu School, Westville Hindu Primary School, and you'll pick up all the information that you want. But for now, we need to make that effort to make sure our children do get to such schools, whichever the schools be, wherever they are.
Thank you, Ramvilas. Yes, but I think we next year starting the visiting or the ground report. So we will go to the different places, and Yashika Ben maybe do the ground report too. And I'm sure that Yashika Ben, me and our team Dharma Samvad will come to your school and
take the people. Do that. I am just about to launch a book called I'm a Hindu, which is about 64 pages, and it should be the print should be ready by Monday. And each page has a beautiful picture and just has about 5 sentences. Ram Navami, Krishnastami, Kavadi, yoga, a whole host of topics. And then please, you know the site vedasandsanskrit.com. It's Hindi and Sanskrit in the simplest possible form, where in 5 minutes you can start speaking the language. In 5 to 10 minutes, you start speaking the language. And also, Yashikaji, about the program, about the Ubuntu Ubu Hindu dialogue, where we are also talking and sharing our values with the African children. You may not have the actual clips. I'm prepared to make that available to you, where our African children are able to perform the yajna and so on beautifully. So please do keep that in mind, and so that we can promote our Hinduism in the South African context.
Absolutely brilliant. I think each one deserves a program on their own, and we want to do that in the follow-ups in the future. I think for now, the idea was to bring everyone together, to link you up, to show that you are not alone, that you have a sense of belonging with each other, and together as a community, we can stand strong. Thank you, Bhai. We will play your video at the end of the program, but we do need to go to the 3 ladies.
No, understand. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks, Giridhaji.
All right. Up next, we have Kirtita Ben, and she is from she's a brahmacharini from the Chinmaya Mission of South Africa. Namaste and welcome.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om. Jai Shri Ram. Thank you for joining us today, and we're so delighted to have you from the ashram in Johannesburg, and with the wonderful inspiration of Swami Chinmayananda ji, who I incidentally met as a student and performed Aarti for Swamiji when he was here many years ago. Welcome to the show. We are here to talk about teaching our language, our culture, our religion, our dharma. And this has been a huge role that you've taken in the Chinmaya Mission. Can you tell us a little bit about the classes that you run?
Okay, so in short, let me say everything because we're running out of time also. Okay, so firstly in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajayashyo vidhu sakalene hamata yogo nashtaf parantapa. So when our parampara, our Gurukul system, that is the Guru Shishya parampara, when this comes down, either Bhagwan comes or takes avatar to bring back this parampara, or he sends a Mahatma. So a Mahatma is whom the expression of Ishwar Ichha is a Mahatma. And one such Mahatma is our Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda ji. When he saw that Hindus in India only, that we are not aware of what our scriptures have to provide for us. Bhagavad Gita is lying on the shelf, Ramayana is just a story, Bhagavatam is just a story. But to leave all that aside and to bring back our own identity. This was our Puja Gurudev's mission. So to take the Shastra, to turn Hindus to Hinduism, this was Gurudev's aim. So to explain the Shastra in the common language of everybody, for us commonly English, but in India, in whichever state the ashrams are, whether if it's Malayali, whether if it's Marathi, whether if it's Gujarati, in all languages, the ashram is continuing like that. Okay. So under Puja Gurudev, our Swamiji, who is head of South Africa, Chinmaya Mission South Africa, Swami Abhedanandji, who was a Shishya of Puja Gurudev only. And when he was posted here, there was lots of work in South Africa to do. But under him, we have grown to 5 centers here in South Africa. We have in Cape Town, we have 3 in Durban, we have 1 here in Johannesburg. And our main aim is Gyan, giving back or making people aware of what our scripture has to offer. That Ramayana is not a story. Or Hinduism is not filled with rituals only. So what is the essence of our scriptures? Who are we? What is our essential nature? This is where we come in. Because, and this is how we have our various classes on Upanishads, on Bhagavad Gita, we have Sanskrit classes. In all our centers, Sanskrit classes are happening by our various brahmacharis. Over here only, we have 3 Sanskrit classes going on online. We have Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Bhagavatam, and every day online from Durban Ashram, which is our head here in South Africa, is that our Puja Swamiji, every day, the satsang is there online on Facebook. So this parampara is continuing. Our main aspect is Gyan. So the question was asked of Puja Gurudev, why not feeding scheme? Or why not going out to the poor? Yes, we do have all of that. But our main aim, which Puja Gurudev had mentioned, is that people are also spiritually starved. That the inquiry of the mind, of what is the truth, of who I am, what is Jeev, who is Jeev, what is Janma, what is Marna. So all of these questions, when this come to a seeker, there should be answers provided. And many people get turned away because they feel they don't have the answers. And unfortunately, our parents don't know how to answer. Unless they have studied and unless they have known, then only. Otherwise, they also try to avoid the topic. And then we find a drift. So,
Thank you.
Chinmaya
Sorry,
Mission.
yeah. 2-3 things. Maybe you just answer in a short. One is the ashram address is changed, if I'm not wrong. And then there is online classes, and then how one can reach out to you for this class timing and all those things.
Yes, we do have a WhatsApp group. We have a Facebook page, Chinmaya Mission Johannesburg. And I can share those details with Yashika ji or Bhai ji. And you can get that. We have a WhatsApp group. So we do have online classes, Bhagavad Gita class, Upanishad class, Vedant classes, and Sanskrit classes currently. We also have Gayatri Havan, and we also have Vishnu Sahasranam. These are our monthly pujas which happen. And our current address is 2 Bramley Park, Santon. The unit number is 34. So in short, what our mission gives is that there comes a point in our life where we are both intellectually and emotionally stumped. Like in the case of Arjun, having everything, when we face a situation, we don't face with our possessions, our achievement, our status. We stay with what gyan we have. So this is where Chinmaya Mission comes, and our appeal is to everybody to use this opportunity and make the most of it as long as we are here. And we are here to serve you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bhaiji. Thank you, Yashika ji, very much for having us and for promoting us. Thank you so much. Hari Om.
You're so welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. We definitely will have a program with you in the future as well. And we so appreciate the gems of wisdom from Swami Chinmayananda ji and Swami Abhedananda ji. Thank you again. I think up next we have is Vish Singh, and he is from the Sri Lakshmi Narayan Temple in Mobeni Heights in Durban. He's been with us for quite a few hours this afternoon, and it was such a pleasure chatting to him earlier. Namaskar and welcome to the program.
Namaste, Kirit Bhai. Namaste, Yashika Benji.
Thank you
just to
so
talk
much.
about Pathshala, the Sri Lakshmi Narayan Temple is in exist of 104 years this year.
Wow.
The institution started teaching Hindi in 1974 under the guidance of the late Pandit H.R. Maharaj and the late Pandit R.R. Maharaj, who started this Hindi school in Clearwood many, many years ago, where the people should sit and study under the tree. So when the government Act came out, we had to move the temple to Mobeni Heights, 49 Greenfen Road, Mobeni Heights. And that's where we started teaching the Hindi. When our Guruji has passed on, Kanhaiya ji has taken over from 1980 and teaching the Hindi language. And also, we started, our organization taken part in many Eistafets, in many dialogues we did at the Mandil, and all was done in Hindi. And it was that the community was so happy to see this young children partaking in a play, in a dialogue in Hindi language. And then from there, Kanhaiya ji started teaching Sanskrit. We started teaching the beginner Sanskrit, the second year, the third year. And after you finish your 3 years Sanskrit, then we teach Puja Vidhi. So Lakshmi Narayan Temple is a very long organization with teaching our culture, our language, and a lot of things we have taken part in. So this is the thing that we're doing, is teaching our culture, teaching our language, and teaching our mantras, our Vedas. Today, if you don't know Ucharan, then if you're reading a mantra not with the proper pronunciation, then it's wasting your time. Do you agree, Kirit Bhai?
Yes, thanks, Vish Bhai. I think
Absolutely.
one good thing is that you have a wonderful teacher, Kanhaiya Bhai. One time we have even discussion, and he correct me that the Sahasra and Sahasra, and it was a wonderful discussion on the group. But is the formal classes like in the Lakshmi Narayan Mandir? Always Lakshmi talk highly
Yes,
about
we have classes. We have like the teacher teaches the beginner Sanskrit. We have a teacher teach the second year. We have a teacher teach the third year. Kanhaiya ji teaches the Puja Vidhi. And once you qualify, then once you finish your 3 years Sanskrit classes, you are ready to do Puja Vidhi. Puja Vidhi is not just from Hindi go straight to Puja Vidhi. You got to learn Sanskrit language. And with Kanayaji, Ucharan is very, very important. We took part in many ice efforts with many other organizations we participated. And the banner of Shri Lakshmi Narayan Temple is still carrying on. We are still carrying the names of our late gurus, and Kanayaji is taking it forward. Next year, we will do the classes, we're going to do it on Zoom. So if anybody wants, if you have my details, you can contact me that we're going to have these classes in Zoom next year. We want to reach out throughout South Africa. We want to reach out throughout South Africa. And a lot of people throughout the country is asking us when we're going online. So we're hoping to go next year. We'll open the second week of February.
That's absolutely wonderful. And I think the temple is a beacon of light to so many Hindus. It has stood the test of time for decades, and it has inspired so many. I remember as a child actually taking part in Eisteddfod's at the Mobeni Heights Temple. What are we expecting to see in the future? I believe you're going to have an Akanda Gita program that's coming up on the 25th of December.
5th of December at 10 o'clock at the Shri Lakshmi Narayan Temple, 49 Greenfield Road, Mobeni Heights. We will start with Puja and Havan at 10 o'clock. Say by 11:30, the recital of the Bhagavad Gita starts, and we will do the 18 chapters. And what made it more better this year, we're empowering our students to read certain chapters. So we are reaching out to the community too. We'll be online, so you can witness this thing online on Zoom.
Thank you so much. That was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Bahut dhanyavad.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So up next, thank you, Bhai. We have with us Shiva Srivastav ji. She is a teacher at Crawford in Johannesburg, where she teaches Hindu studies. She's also teaching music and Hindi in the community. So she's an all-round teacher. Welcome to the program.
Namaste, Ashka ji. Namaste, Kirit Bhai. Thanks for this opportunity. I really appreciate. So I do teach, I run a school called Mayfair School of Music and Hindi. It was started in 1996 by Bharat Bhai Parikh, and 1997 my late husband Rajiv Srivastava took over the charge and we carry on after his past going away to his journey to higher level. We carried on with at home with my children. Vishal teaches tabla, Bulbul teaches harmonium, and I teaches Hindi and Hinduism and Gujarati. And I do the translation as well for department. So that was Mayfair. I do teach at Crawford International Center that offers the Hinduism classes from grade 1 to 7. It's a nice way to encourage children to be enrichment, and we do the enrichment and as excursion a lot. Kirit Bhai knows we bring the children to the temple as well for their excursion. So I just want to say that language and religion culture has to carry on. It is a right way to do it. It is difficult in this time of thing. Yes, I see the slides. Crawford International, you can see on their web page and Facebook page, we got the Holi and Diwali celebrations always doing very nicely. So the Hindi language, I have a passion for Hindi and Hinduism both. That's my life, I can say that. And for Hindi, I must say that, any language, by the way, that it's a trade language. And I always encourage my pupils, it can be 80 years old to 8 years old. I do teach different age group. That is a secret language. In other country, if we stuck somewhere and we need to communicate that others don't know, then we can do it with this way. That's the only way we can communicate and the others don't know. Yes, Bollywood is doing a very good job to bringing up to understand that also we need Hindi. So that's another way to learn as well to do that. And I must tell here that the Department of Education giving us opportunities to do the languages in metric in their as an additional subject. First language, second language, or first additional language as well. So it's such a good opportunities for our children to do the language and carry on. I think Tamil, Telugu, Hindi, Gujarati, whatever language we take. Only difficulty I find it that children don't have time. They have opportunity, they like to learn, but because of lots of other commitments and the pressure on them, they drop out. And parents need to encourage that. Parents need to encourage their children to allow for practice, allow for anything. I understand they don't know the language, but they can encourage them to watch and to speak. And I must say, I was listening all the previous speakers, and Himali Ben mentioned that they do the play group. I do teach at Marlborough as well, and that's a very good way of doing it. The language or religion as well, and like Hemang Bhai say, Vidya and Manoranjan, best way. The children can learn with that a lot. These days, everything is online. The digital platform is so big, they can learn from there anything, what they want to. Thanks. Any questions? Yes,
Thank
Kirit
you, Shiva Ben. So the one thing I like to say that Bollywood, in fact, biggest damage done to the Hindu culture, it is a Bollywood, right? So I don't give any marks to the Bollywood except the
Right.
nice sarees.
No, but for language, at least children
Yes,
are
yes.
watching because
Hindi
of
can be,
language.
but I do give credit to all the forefathers, those who are here long 160 years, and those South African Hindu community
They
who
keep
keep
it
long
alive.
life this
They
culture.
keep it alive. They keep it alive. Yes. Yes.
And it is through you and people like Panditji that we are encouraged to do Bolchal. Otherwise, people will forget the language. And thank you very much for being with us today. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
Up next, we have Pranita Ben, and she is a teacher of Hindi in the Randburg area. I actually know Pranita Ji for many years ago.
Yes, you do.
We studied together, and it's amazing how everything comes, so beautifully. Pranita Ji, you've been involved with Hindi singing and Hindi language for a long period of time. What has been your inspiration in Randburg, for example, and in a very modern context of people rushing about, people being very busy, but yet you've been able to teach Hindi?
So my interest in Hindi has stemmed from childhood. I came from a very cultural family. At the beginning, Shika spoke about her teacher, the late Kasturi Ben. That was my Mausi. So it's been installed in me. When I moved up to Randburg, there was a need for the Hindi culture. So we formed the Randburg Hindu Cultural Society, and I started teaching Hindi about 11 years ago. So from here, I run about 7 classes on a Saturday from my home because we do not have a venue. So the interesting thing is that I now have the little children who are like 5 years old and introduce them into the Hindi language. It's fun to watch the parents involved as well, because you introduce them with coloring games, songs, and I think that's my best class, the most fun class we have. That's for about half an hour, but in that half an hour they have picked up a lot. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment. When COVID hit, we moved to Skype, to the extent that I have one of my pupils, ex-pupils, who moved to Dubai, and he is now eagerly waiting for me to continue next year. So yes, and it all depends, to instill Hindi at a very young age, or Hinduism in a young age in a child. They continue throughout adulthood.
So your lesson is always children and inspiring them from childhood. So it's an interconnection between the child and the parents.
Correct. Yes, because in my classes, I encourage parents to sit in. When they sit in, they also want to start learning Hindi. So I have a number of classes where parents also started writing the exam because they're involved in the class.
Yeah, so Pranitaben, that's actually correct way. When I used to teach in Port Elizabeth, I used to tell the parents that, you see, we teach in the class, right? When they go home, the parents don't speak that particular language, either Gujarati or Hindi, right? So what happens is, like, you giving them some homework, they go put the book inside the cupboard, and then normal their activities, the school, and when they come next time, they don't know those words, and either they any progress, because there is no that homework kind of things there, because parents maybe not very understand those things. How many children in the school you teach?
It's a very small school. Yes, I've got a maximum about 10 to 12 pupils, but it's growing. And every time someone will say, but I heard about you from this person. And the students are coming in, but due to the pressure in schools as well, at a certain time they drop off because they got to start studying for exams in the English schools. So I don't really push them, but everything is about fun. If we learn language through fun, the children will never leave you, and adults as well.
Absolutely. I think in this age of technology and 4IR, Manoranjan becomes so important, and Kale. And I think through games and quizzes, the language, the religion, the culture is learned, and it's imbibed within the psyche and the consciousness of the child.
Correct.
Thank you so much, Pranita ji. Thank you for sharing those very special moments with us. And we wish you all the best with the classes next year. And we hope and will encourage you. And, our platform is available for you to, send your details to encourage young people to take up classes.
Sure. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Pranita-ben. So here, Yashika-ben, I think so it was a wonderful show. Especially, this kind of work, when we do, you go in a bed and sleep peacefully because you feel that you did something for your community. Those parties, things when we was talking about last week, about that race party where the many children affected, and from there, I think so this idea came to maybe that let's bring the schools, Hindu schools as well. And then thanks again to you because you encourage that let we have the school, all the schools, and then I think so you was saying that 2-3 school, but I thought maybe we bring it 12 school. Of course, that your idea was to dip the briefing we get, detailed briefing get from them. I just sharing this to the community, because why we gone over. The reason was to take the 12 or 13 school. I think so it was 12 or 13 schools, just to promote this work done by our Hindu community, and then look at how nice these teachers are. Or I said they are social worker in other way, or maybe I said Swami, because anyone who do work as like Ram Bhagwan took the kalari hand and put hand and said, you know what, you take little sand to making the bridges count. And these are the messenger of Hinduism. Your take from today's show, Yashika-ben?
I think it was absolutely phenomenal. I actually am very humbled, and I'm so blessed to have had so many teachers in our midst. We often take Pathshala for granted. We studied in those days, in small rooms outside. I had a friend, who came to visit today, and he's not even Indian Hindu. He's a Hindu from England, and he studied Tamil with Guru Sharma in Marlborough, not Marlborough, in one of the temples in Johannesburg on the sand. And Guru used to teach him the Tamil alphabet. Today he's speaking Tamil. He's Ishta Devata's Murga, and he loves it because he feels, what is wrong with us as Indian Hindus? Surely we should imbibe the beauty of our religion. And he says, no, everyone must learn about Ganesha and Muruga and understand their language and what the symbolism means. I think we take our faith for granted. Today we have seen how beautiful everything comes together and how the country can come together. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for you, Panditji, for allowing us this opportunity on Dharma Samvad and for listening to us and our and our pleas every time, because I'm constantly phoning Panditji. I really enjoyed today's show, and our humble pranams to you and pranams to all our teachers that has come today.
Thank you, Yashika Ben. So viewers, thank you for, I think so today was little bit, I think in almost hour to over. Thanks to the Lakshbhai. I think to our Hitesh Bhai technical team also, he not well. We pray for his speedy recovery. Thanks to the Gopal Bhai also, because this the Dharma Samvad the foundation start, or the founder member are Gopal Bhai and myself, and then Lakshbhai and the Yashika Ben, Nilamji, as well as Hitesh Bhai, Jitesh Bhai, Harry, those who helping and supporting, and the founder, they are part of this team. Next week we're gonna have a show on the Bhagavad Gita. And then please support us. This is the only one Hindu channel for the Hindu community. Thank you. May God bless you. Thanks.
Namaste.